Well, hello everybody, and yeah, excited to be here again. Excited to once again be able to do a live video. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my light. I did notice that my lighting wasn't great. It doesn't make me look pretty. So just grabbing out my light here without knocking my phone over. Ba-doom, ba-doom. Oh, did it get unplugged? No, it didn't get unplugged. Whoa! Okay, so we'll just put that back there where it usually goes. Oh, it doesn't want to go there. It doesn't want to go there, guys. It doesn't want to go to its home. So what we'll do is we'll move this over here. Okay, there we go. I do apologize for the noise upstairs. The dog likes to drop his giant bone. And welcome to another episode of The Albinos Live again. Yeah, I do have the link for anyone that wants to join, but again, I don't know who's still interested in joining these things anymore. It's been so long since I've done one. And yeah, I had my buddy Chris was like, I'm going to be there. So let's see if he ends up joining or not. I don't know. We're going to start with some beers, though, right? We got some beers over here. We've pulled out 5 beers. I don't know if I'm going to go through them all or not. But we might as well start with, from Side Launch, their wheat. And Side Launch wheat, as some of you may or may not have known, was another company's wheat at one point. Oh. 1 second, guys. Bang. There we go.
How's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm really good. I'm actually watching the Leafs right now lose. Losing.
Who are they playing tonight?
Colorado.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say the Senators, and I could have.
I guess so, but yeah. So how's everything going?
Oh, it's going. It's going. How about for you?
That's good. Good. Out here in Brantford, it's like spring day out here all the time now. It's all spring. We don't get winters here anymore.
And then we have Christopher. So good day, Christopher. No, Christopher doesn't want to talk? Okay.
Hi, Chris.
This is what I'm drinking tonight.
Oh, I got 740 Bush Ice. So you're out in Regina, eh?
Yes, sir.
How do you like it?
I haven't seen a lot of the city yet, but I'm liking everything I've dealt with so far.
How many people live in Regina? Oh, Amber here.
About 250,000.
Okay, 250,000. So that's a big city.
Yeah, and I mean where we're located, we basically have everything you could hope for, fairly close. I mean, the kids' school is a 6-minute walk from here. Every brewery in town is within a 45-minute walk if I had to walk.
Nice.
Every store that you would want is right down the street. So I mean, it's
nice.
Everything you could want. We're around.
So, are you in the downtown part or just in the outskirts?
Kind of central, basically, not downtown, but close to downtown.
Okay, that's good because where I am in Brantford, I'm like walking distance to everything too. So that's what I love about it. But we only have like 115,000, so we're only half the size of your city.
Yeah, the big difference between Ontario and Saskatchewan is like Saskatchewan has like 5 cities and that's it, right? You have like Moose Jaw, Saskatoon, Regina, Prince Albert, and Swift Current. And then other than that, you're maybe Lloydminster, but you're getting smaller. And then you have like Humboldt and all that, but those are towns, and you just keep getting smaller after that.
Because isn't there like only 1.5 million people in Saskatchewan? And that's it.
Yeah, it's something like that. I mean, everything we've had to do in the government, they'd be like, yeah, it's going to take like 6 weeks, and we get it in a few days. So
that's pretty good.
It's been pretty funny to walk in and do that stuff. Like Alicia had to have her, as she told her mom, her daddy had to sign her permission form for her to drive because the house is in my name, so she didn't have proof of address. So I had to sign a piece of paper saying where she lived,
Okay.
so that she could get her license here in Saskatchewan. I
Wow.
thought it was pretty
So
funny.
that's crazy though. So you moved from here all the way up to what? You were way up north?
Yes, we were. One second. Just watching Molson Canadian peer review. Absolutely loved it. Awesome. Uh, and showing love from Toronto. Well, thank you. Yeah. So as you knew, I was in the Niagara region for a long time. Then I went up to Pavernatuk in Nunavik, and I was there for
Mhm.
several years. And then recently, I was in Deer Lake First Nations in Ontario, and now I'm here.
Huh. Wow. That's good for you though, to be able to travel all Canada doing that because it's quite amazing. I wouldn't be able to do that because I basically grew up in Waterloo region and I moved to Brantford, which is just beside it. So
Well, I mean, I don't know if Chris just doesn't like talking to us, but he's been all over Canada as well.
I feel like he's trying to talk, but something's going on here.
Yeah, I don't think his mic is working, or
Yeah.
yeah. See, his mouth is moving, but nothing's coming out.
Oh, he looks good though. So there you go. You look good. So how's the internet out there?
I keep getting told that it's really bad. Like we're on SaskTel, and they're like SaskTel is the worst internet in Saskatchewan, and a lot of things in Saskatchewan are government ran. SaskTel runs well is Saskatchewan. Um, your insurance goes through Saskatchewan Insurance. Like everything is through the government. It's
Okay.
not private enterprises. It's the government, and like your licensing is obviously through them as well. But I mean, like Alicia has to register her car, do her license, and get insurance all in the same building. But
Huh.
it's not like a Service Ontario. It's a random insurance company, but they work for the government.
Huh.
Oh, did we almost hear Chris there?
I think he's there. Are you there, Chris?
No, Chris isn't there.
Or he's sort of there. Now he's choppy. Like I go and see him move a little bit. Um. Yeah. So you can't get Bell or Rogers out there?
No, there is like four internet companies out here, and that's it. And it's one of those
Huh.
four. But SaskTel has worked perfectly fine for me. Like it takes me all of 20 seconds to upload my videos to YouTube. So
Wow. So I have no problem seeing you live right now. So if it was bad, you would be choppy as it is, right?
yeah, I'm reminding myself how to use this thing too because it's been years since I've had to use it because I've been on bad internet for so long that I didn't do any live streams for a while.
So I'm glad you're on. I read it. And it said you're back. So you've been posting a lot of beer videos, which is amazing because I've been just nonstop watching them.
Oh yeah,
I'm glad. I'm glad.
I still have something like 35 beers over there to review and a bunch of them on my phone.
Nice, 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 nice. That's good.
Now, I have to find myself the bottle shops and stuff because most things are only selling their beer by the 4 pack. So as a guy that wants to do reviews, it's not great because the beer's a little more expensive usually here than in Ontario because they're taxed harder. So you're looking at like a $17 4 pack. So if you're going out to try and find four beers to review for a night, you're looking at like $80 and hoping that you like the beers because you also have your deposit on top of everything because Sarcan puts a deposit on everything. Cans of pop, bottles of water, like those little yops that kids drink. That
Yeah.
has a Sarcan on it too. The deposit to try and get it all back.
Okay, so you have a deposit for all stuff you buy, like bottled water.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So that's almost like Nova Scotia. I believe Nova Scotia has that same thing.
And I think they might have it in New Brunswick too, because I remember Nick talking about that.
Okay.
What's this one? Benjamin, you look like you've lost weight since that video. I have, and then I gained weight again. The Molson Canadian video, I would have still been married to my ex-wife, and I was in a very bad place, and I just didn't care. I was like 330 pounds and not great. Once we broke up and I was trying to get back in competition shape, I ended up dropping down to about 240 and was all muscle again. And then I married Alicia and she fed me, and I'm up at about 280 now. So I'm still lower than when I was with my first wife, but
All right. So I had the Elkanauts here last weekend. Buddy Ray, he showed up and he said he's met you a few times because you did this festival down in Niagara, and that's where he lives in Niagara, and he's talked to you a few times.
yeah, there's a lot of people in
The,
Niagara know me.
the
Like,
Albino Rhino Beer
oh,
Festival.
there he is. Yes,
We can hear you.
he's back with his sultry voice.
You
So,
better
how long did
believe
that
it, baby.
festival go on for?
There was 8 years of the festival before it stopped, so
Okay.
it was good.
To the 49ers fans, sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Oh, I'm Drew. I'm Drew, or whatever you. I have a channel, Beer for Breakfast, Facts for Snacks. I'm in Brantford, Ontario.
Excellent.
Distilled, brewed, and reviewed. Good day to you, sir.
I'm coming from the Cambridge.
Oh, you live in Cambridge?
He's been all
I'm
over.
in Cambridge.
though. I
I'm in
mean,
downtown Galt.
Downtown Galt. I grew up in Galt. I had a house in Christopher Drive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did. I lived in Cambridge all my
Very
life.
good.
I was born in Kitchener.
I got to ask you about that Bush Ice. Now, which
Yeah.
do you prefer? Regular Bush or Bush Ice?
Bush Ice. But I'm a Laker Ice fan.
you went silent, Chris.
Interesting.
Chris. So,
I find
Chris, Chris, do you
It's
have
funny.
a
Go
do you
ahead.
have a channel out or something?
Do I have a pardon?
A YouTube channel out.
This is a wicked delay.
Do you have a YouTube
Ah,
channel? too?
I don't. I do have one, but it's not something that I use as any kind of
Okay.
vessel. I just have a couple of videos up.
But you're just
Back
right
when
down the
YouTube
road
was
from me.
YouTube.
You're back when YouTube is YouTube. Check me out because I'm literally 20 minutes from you.
Excellent. I see the Kitchener Beer Festival is coming up soon. Beer and something, beer and wings or whatever. But there's a beer and tacos is what it's called. It's a beer and taco festival
Yeah.
coming up in Kitchener.
Is that Victoria?
I often comment, just what Kitchener needs: more alcohol. Yes.
Yeah.
The
Actually, there's one
Kitchener
in
Waterloo area is a huge brewery area too, right? Like there's so many
Oh.
breweries in that area.
There is. There's actually Cambridge had 9 craft breweries, but 2 of them basically got shut down because of COVID and everything. So there's 7 craft breweries in
Mhm.
Cambridge alone, right? You know, so I go to Farm League all the time. I love Farm League. Too bad it wasn't Grand River. I love Grand River. I hate that Bond or whatever they are bought them out because their beers are crap now. You know,
Have you tried much
I,
of the Abe Herb stuff?
Haber, what's that? Is that another brewery?
Abe Herb. Beer is his
It's a
middle name.
brewery.
Oh yeah,
It's a
okay.
brewery, and it's pretty much at the intersection of Abe and Herb.
Yes, Herb Street, right?
Did they reopen? I know they closed at one point. They didn't even have the money to pay their workers.
They're back in business.
Okay,
Here's this
that was
one
a
right
few
here.
years back. So
From Waterloo. This is really good. They're a good brewery.
What's it called?
What's
the name?
Innocent. It's from Waterloo.
Innocente, Steve Innocente.
See, Innocente. See,
Okay.
I can never pronounce anything.
He was actually a yeast scientist in Scotland, and we've talked about him, Chris. He was the guy that every time he put out the beer for his first year or so, every beer would have the same name. Like he'd have his guilty conscience. He would play on the fact that most people would say his name is innocent. So he had like the Innocente bystander, but people would say innocent bystander and stuff like that. But every time he put it out, he would ferment his beer at a different temperature because as a yeast scientist, he knew that fermenting at different temperatures gave so much different flavor. So none of his beers were ever the fucking same. And I used to yell at him about it all the time. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I just like to play. I go, give it a different name. I go and I buy it thinking I'm getting this, and then I get that. Fuck.
That's the guy. Okay, well, guess what?
That's what the old blues guitarist John Lee Hooker. He was a complete pain in the ass to play with because he played every song differently each time. But he's the boss.
I mean, well, that was the thing, right? Steve's the boss. Steve can do whatever he wants. That's where Colgate got his start into the brewing industry because I went to do a brew day at Innocente, and I brought him with me, and he became Steve's cellarman,
Okay.
and then he moved to Abe Herb, and then he moved to I believe Silversmith, then he moved to Cayman Kettle, and he's now working as he's not Zach because Zach's the head brewer at Brimstone, but he's working at Brimstone.
Wow, you really know everything, eh?
I know nothing.
Wow.
In regards to breweries that don't come out, Creemore, when they would come out with their Urbach, that dark lager, they admitted that they brewed it for themselves. And that's why the recipe changed every time. They just said it was a bonus if you happen to like it.
I have a Urbach in the fridge right now. Brian sent it to me as a
So
house
where
warming.
are you on consistency with that? As a
It
from
always bothers me when
Carlsberg Brewery, there's a Jubra.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I was going to say it really bothers me when a beer isn't consistent. Now, I
Jubra, which you
understand
can
that
get
there
at the.
Go ahead. No.
With Jubra, which comes from I think the Carlsberg Brewery. You'll notice every 3 months when you go to if you go to purchase a Zubra, the alcohol percentage will change. They are dead honest about their. I can't really call it inconsistency. It's just brewing is a science.
Yes.
Such as a beer like Busch Ice that says that it's 5.5%. You can almost call bullshit on that. There's no way every time it's going to be exactly right on the dot. 5.5%, as long as you can be in sort of a legal ballpark. I think you get about 0.2% grievance.
No, it's 0.5 now. So it could be anywhere from 5 to 6%, and they'd still be okay.
Hey,
Okay.
this one right here is 6%. If you get to 740, don't ask me why. It's weird.
That is weird.
And it is weird.
Maybe
If you
they're
get to
telling
740,
the
it's
truth on that
6%.
one.
And did you know Carlsberg bought out Waterloo Brewery? just over a year ago. Now all Carlsberg stuff is brewed in Waterloo.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
I haven't
Okay.
had a Waterloo beer in a while.
Wow.
And I remember the
Another.
last time I was in the Waterloo Brewery, I was there to do a video set, and they were talking about how everything was all natural and everything else. You know, they're like, we do everything naturally, and you could see like the corn syrup pipes above your head and everything. And I'm like, yeah, fuck off. I don't. I'm not a perfectionist that only wants craft beer and stuff, but don't lie to me. Don't like sell me shit and tell me it's spaghetti or something, right? Like be honest about what you're doing. I don't. I always got in fights too. Like I've put homebrew beers in that were supposed to be all grain brews, and I've put in malt extract kits just to see if I'd get it disqualified or not. Sometimes I'd meddle, and I'm like, how did I meddle? There was no fucking green in that. So I mean, it doesn't really matter. A big guy can make a good beer. A small guy can make a bad beer. But it just bothers me when you're lying. And like your consistency question, yeah, I want consistency. I understand why the small guys can't always be
course.
consistent because they're buying from a different farm every time for their grains or their hops, or maybe Escarpment Laboratories doesn't have their yeast this day, so they're buying from another company. So things will change, but it's when you're putting the same thing out with a vastly different recipe that it actually bothers me. Other than like minor things that most people aren't going to pick up on, doesn't really bother me. Tim Woods, good day. How are you? Do you have anything to drink tonight, Chris? Do you have
It's
any
funny
waters?
with Laker. I'm having a glass of orange Tang.
That's awesome. So what about Laker?
But even with Laker, if we say Laker's making bullshit beer, I've noticed purchasing Laker in southwestern Ontario or even here, fresher tasting bullshit beer. There's something about, I don't know if it has a shorter shelf life with what they're using, but I've had higher quality Laker products around here than I have north of Cambridge.
Really?
Now, on to what you're talking about with that, right? Like I remember the first time I reviewed Steam Whistle, I talked about.
I don't buy it.
Go ahead. He has an internet problem apparently.
Oh,
No,
big
it's good.
time, big
It's you.
time.
I'm having some Tang.
Anyway, so with like Steam Whistle, the first time I reviewed Steam Whistle, I hated it, and then I had Steam Whistle when we were doing our video series at the brewery, and I had it right off the line. Like they pulled it off the line, I popped it open, I drank it. It was fucking fantastic. And they gave me a case to take home. Well, they gave both me and Ken a case to take home, the man child, and we put them both in the basement. And we did a test. And we did use some of it for the ladder match, but the other stuff we did with it, we were opening up a bottle every few days just to see how it tasted. And the drop-off point for Steam Whistle was about 2 weeks. At 2 weeks, you could taste the degradation of the beer. And I'm like, how in the fuck does a Pilsner degrade that fast? It's not anything that should degrade that fast. But the difference in the green bottle's flavor from the day it came off the line till 2 weeks was noticeable.
Wow, that's crazy. That's why I don't buy bottles anymore. It's all cans. And that's why I watched your video today. You did Northern Lights or something.
Yes.
Yeah, and I saw that, and I'm like, I never see bottles really anymore. You know?
Yeah, I think it's the only brewery that I've seen so far doing the bottles, and it was they were one of the things that was dropped off by my real estate agent when we bought the house. That was one of my housewarming gifts, that stuff. So I haven't even been out to Bushwhacker yet, but I really kind of want to.
How far is Bushwhacker from your place?
Bushwhacker's the furthest walk. It's a 50-minute walk.
Okay. A 50. Okay, so an hour walk. You know what though? That's a good exercise to get there. That's good.
I
You
mean,
know?
Multinational might become my favorite brewery because they do some really good beers that I've had, and they're a 10-minute walk from my door. So
Huh.
I thought
10-minute walk is good.
I don't know if I'm going to drink this one tonight, but I knew Chris was coming on the panel, so I thought I'd show him this one. So this is from Blackbridge. This is pseudo lager, right? Pseudo lager. Why it's a pseudo lager, I don't know, but it's 4.5% alcohol. It says balanced, sessionable,
Man.
and then after balanced and sessionable, this pseudo lager says ale.
Huh.
Because
Huh.
a lager and an ale are the exact same thing. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I pulled that out for you, Chris.
Well, basically, yeah, they are.
Do you think it could be a California? Could it be a California common?
I don't know.
Do you think it could be an ale with lager yeast or lager with ale yeast, like a California common? A
Pseudo
steam beer?
lager is a light, refreshing ale.
Okay, I gotta ask, Chris, who is your internet provider? you're flashing. You're all over the map
Is it
here.
that bad? Eh?
Yeah.
I've never used StreamYard before.
Just to answer your question, Chris, about could it be like a Kolsch or a Keller beer or anything like that? Nothing on it is talking about it being a lager ale.
Yeah.
Good day, Brian. I'm sad that you're not here with us. I mean, we could have a guy having horrible Niagara internet too.
Hey guys, can you just give me 2 minutes? I just got to use the washroom, all right?
Yep. So it was you that told me what the original 16 stood for, right?
Yes, it was the font, like how you would end a page in journalism. They got the 16 again?
Yeah, original 16 copper ale. This is actually a really good one. I really enjoy their copper.
I can't remember. Is copper ale a style?
It's been a long time since I've had to look at the BGCP, but I don't remember a copper ale being a style. Amber, red.
Because they did an update. They did an update 6 years ago, but a copper ale sounds like it's been around a lot longer than the past 6 years.
It's basically like it's basically Rickard's Red, but tasting better, like tasting fresher and.
Okay. Can you hear me at all, or does it just come in patches?
No, I hear you fine. You just have a.
It's just a wicked delay.
And I don't know why you have a wicked delay, but like, are you logged in directly through StreamYard, or are you watching on your phone, or?
Well, I'm in a house that's 200 years old.
Lots of metal and lots of wood.
Stone. Lots of stone. Big stone walls. It's a nice looking beer.
My house is only 97 years old, so.
Matthew just got a stick on that. I think McCarr did. Is tried to curl it around the stick of the defender.
Oh, we lost Andrew. Yeah, so I'm just excited to be able to do these again. It's been
that
so
one came
long,
with some complimentary Leaf game.
Yeah. For anyone that is in the comments, anyone that is watching, if you want to join the panel, you can let me know. I'll try and get you an invite. If you have questions or anything you want us to talk about, let us know. We'll try and do it. Again, I didn't send out the invite to everybody that I would normally send it to, because I don't know how many people would still be interested in even joining these, because it's been so long since we've done it. I don't even know how many viewers we have, because I'm only logged in on StreamYard, so it doesn't really tell me. I'd have to pick up my phone and go to YouTube. And
It doesn't. Even as a guest on the show, it doesn't show on my screen either how many people are here. That one still baffles me. What that Bush Ice, that you get an extra 0.5% in a larger can. That makes no fucking sense at
Yeah.
all.
No, it doesn't. And I don't know if you
Like,
can see it,
what are they?
but it's literally like right there, 6. Can you see 6?
I see it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
But it's not like they would have their own copper kettle pumping out 6%, and then a copper kettle next to it pumping out 5.5.
Unless Labatt's has it like these are the barrels for everything, and then we're going to have one barrel for the 740s at 6. I don't know, but this is the one to go for if you just want to drink it. Or maybe Bush Ice itself
Well,
is
a brewery
between
like
5.5 and 6.
I was gonna say it's probably actually like 5.7, and
fucking
on the
hope
smaller
not.
cans they put 5.5.
A
and on the
brewery
bigger
like
cans.
it's a happy medium. Sounds like horse racing. We're just rounding up.
Literally, I went to the beer store.
But think of it
today
this
and
way: a brewery like
we all
a brewery like
Chris,
Labatt's,
his delay is
who
so
makes
bad.
a Labatt Blue product that comes out in Montreal. Labatt makes a Labatt Blue that goes as high as 10%. And then you have every other Labatt product under the sun, from Labatt Light, Labatt Ice, Labatt Dry, Labatt Honey this, Labatt Brown like that.
Right.
I'm curious if all Labatt products start at 10%.
And then they just water them down?
They're excellent. That stuff will make you see through walls, you know? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I had that. Yeah, it was good. It's a good one. But you can actually taste it like it's sweet. It's very sweet. So you know they added corn syrup and stuff into it.
Well, on your thought there, Chris, I could actually see that happening because there are craft breweries
Caution.
that have done
May
kind of
make you phone call.
Like Amsterdam Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Mystery.
For a business sense, it makes sense.
And when I was interviewing Jamie Mystery, he was like, yeah, we brew our beers to like 7% alcohol, and then we water them down to the 5 or 6 or whatever we're looking for. And I'm like, you just said that on camera, buddy. Like, why would you admit to that? Like, it
makes sense though. You know, you gotta make them and then water it down because, well, how do you think Coors Light is made? Just like
well, they were
that,
doing
right?
it that way solely because they didn't have their fermenters were a certain size. Their bright tank was a certain size. So everything was a different size. So what they were doing was trying to monopolize their sizes the best they could and get things to go the best way they could. And so when they put it in the bright tank, they'd add more water to it, and then they'd be paying less tax. And it was an interesting concept.
Huh.
I just couldn't believe the guy would admit to it on camera. Like,
I also heard Amsterdam Brewery, the owner, he's not very, nice. I heard he's a dick.
I've never met the owner of Amsterdam. I've only ever when Jamie was there. Jamie's who I would go through. Jamie, the last time I saw Jamie, he was actually a professor at Niagara College teaching brewery. I don't know where he is now. Not sure where he is in the Ontario beer market now. I know George Eagleson, who was formerly the brewmaster at Wellington. He was formerly the brewmaster at F&M or Stonehammer. He was a brewer at he was a brewer like everywhere. He was a teacher at the college as well. I don't think he is right now, though. The last time I was at one of their project brews, he wasn't there. But Kyle, who was the brewer at Cameron's and now runs Gorman and Smith's, which creates breweries in Ontario, he's actually, he doesn't even work for the brewery side anymore. He now works for the distillery. He's a professor for the distillery.
Oh.
But there's just so many people that have come and gone through that program that it's kind of amazing how many people have touched the future of Ontario craft brewing and in Canadian craft brewing and international, because there's a lot of international students that end up at Niagara. A lot of Asian countries end up in Niagara for the brewing course. There's a lot of people from all over the place end up there, and it's kind of amazing to me that they do.
It's a very incestuous business. At most established craft breweries, no one still has their original brewer.
Oh, thank you very much there, Matt. Matt just said, here's towards some new beers for the Roost. So thank you very much. The Roost is a kitchen. I've taken over the kitchen in the basement apartment. But basically, we turned the basement apartment into our bedroom, and the bedroom in the basement apartment is our walk-in closet.
Oh. Well, I'm in my kitchen, so it doesn't matter.
Literally.
Well, there was.
Right? If I turn you over here, there's the sink and everything, the fridge and everything, right? So.
Well, this cupboard here was actually right here where my desk is. There was a stove here. It's out in my garage. I'm giving it away for free because we don't need it. It's like an ancient, still has the fuses in the top stove, but everything works. So I'm like, whoever wants it can have it, or if you just want it for scrap, come and get it out of my damn garage. But yeah,
wow.
It works.
So your other stove, I hope it's newer.
Yeah, it's a brand new stove. It came the same day we moved in.
Okay, so that's good then. I was going to say, I hope your other stove doesn't break down now, right? You know.
There was a freezer that was left here. It was over in the laundry room, and it had seen better days. There's some rust on the top and all that. Like the paint is chipped off. But I'm like, if anyone needs a freezer, I plugged it in. It hits temperature. It works. Somebody came and picked it up already.
So
I mean,
the older freezers.
I have two fridges, so I have two freezers. I'm okay.
Yeah, no, but the older freezers are the freezers to keep because those things will never break down.
No, they last forever.
Yeah, exactly. It's the newer stuff that they want. They're only making that will work for 5 years and then break down. You know.
Have you seen any beers from BrewDog in a while?
No, but I was in the Arctic for a while.
Okay. Distilling your own product. Beers for breakfast there. BrewDog is a brewery in, I think it's Ireland, I believe.
Ireland, okay.
Scotland.
And the last time they made a product that came over to Scotland, pardon me. Last time they made a beer that came over to North America was called Brew Punk IPA. That's probably over 15 years ago. But they're more famous for freezing and distilling their beers. And they brew some of the strongest beers in the world, 40%, 60% alcohol.
Yes.
Are they the one that has the most?
Penguin.
Are they the one that has the highest alcohol beer out there?
They are and aren't at the same time. Technically, Snakebite is the highest alcohol.
They compete with another brewery in Scandinavia or something like that.
Yes, Snakebite is technically the highest there is, but Snakebite's been called out because Snakebite adds alcohol to it to make it higher. They are the highest naturally brewed and ice brewed. And what the fuck is my 120-pound dog doing? What the fuck?
I hear it too. That's wild.
Like, is he really just trying to come down and see me and can't figure out how to get to the basement? Like,
okay, when you're in the Arctic, how much did it cost you to get down to Regina?
If I had been leaving from Pavernatuck, it would have been $5,000 just to get myself to Montreal. So I mean, your round trip ticket in Pavernatuck was usually around $8,000 per person from From Deer Lake to Winnipeg, it's about $700 a person.
Right. Because I actually talked to, I don't know if you know him, one flight down, Alan. He lives in Winnipeg. I plan on going to Winnipeg this year because I got to go visit Winnipeg. Never really been out of Ontario, so I can't wait to do it.
There are some really nice places in Winnipeg, but Winnipeg is way too stabby for me to stay in for too long.
Really?
Oh yeah. If you go and look at crime maps in Canada, your worst places to live is like Thunder Bay, Winnipeg, Prince Albert. I think those are your three highest crime rates.
I don't know why Thunder Bay's in there, right? You know?
So like when we were in Winnipeg for a month for training for the job I was doing up until recently. And in the month we were there was 7 murders, there was like 15 stabbings and 7 drive-by shootings all in the area of our hotel. And I'm like, I need to get out of Winnipeg. I can't be here anymore.
So have you visited Sucrums?
It's Thunder Bay that has the highest fatality rate in Canada from opioids.
Yeah.
True. You talking Sucrus Brewing or whatever it is there?
Sucrums Brewery, yeah.
Yes, they make some really good beers and they have some really good sours and everything else. Fort Garry does some pretty good stuff. The only brewery I can say I wouldn't go to ever again in Winnipeg is TransCanada. I wouldn't go to that one.
Okay. So I've had a couple from TransCanada. Have you had anything from Kilter?
No, I don't think they were really open when we were there.
Okay. TransCanada, I had, I think, a blueberry one. It was all right because Alan mails me beers all the time, right? So I actually just got a package from him, 2 days ago. I did a live on that, and I got a Sucrums IPA. I can't wait to get into.
Yeah, no, we were staying at the company put us up at the Homewood Suites, which was on I don't remember what street it was, but there was like 4 breweries that were within walking distance, and I would visit them quite often after training. Like we would do a training, and then I would walk to the breweries. The TransCanada was within walking distance as well, and it's actually a brew pub more than anything.
Yeah.
And we went there, and like they have fish and chips, but their fish isn't a fish you would normally use for fish and chips. It's like a high-end fish. And my wife was like, "What the fuck is this?" She was eating it.
That's my buddy 7th time. That's Nick. I love Nick.
With those blueberry beers.
With those blueberry beers,
I think it's best to use extracts or syrups with blueberry beers, or else you have to fuck around with pectin tablets because you're dealing with the tannins off the berries, and you can get a very dry taste that comes from the berry, the blueberry beer.
Go down the Minhas Road.
Huh.
Fucking right.
Have you been to Good Neighbor?
With orange peel and coriander, you're okay, I guess.
Coriander's good. I like coriander. Have you been to Good Neighbor in Winnipeg?
No, I've not been to Good Neighbor. Originally, I was supposed to be in Winnipeg for 5 days before I came to Regina, and then Alicia and the dogs and Harlow came with me and Aiden. And originally, I was going to go and hang out with one of the cops that used to work in Deer Lake. Me and him were going to go do the beer tours, but we left the day me and him were going to do the beer tours. He was a little sad.
Oh.
Well, that's always been the joke about Regina. Now, if you use a GPS, it's Regina, but it's Regina.
The Craigslist in Regina sounds absolutely filthy. It's called usedregina.com.
You are correct. It is.
Oh God, here we go.
It's perfectly fine. It just sounds disgusting.
That's amazing. That's just,
Used vagina.
oh man.
My phone thinks that we're in fucking. My phone thinks we're in fucking Newfoundland or something. It's saying it's like 5 p.m.
Cap is casing.
Okay, so you're the same time as Winnipeg though, like Manitoba,
Yes.
right?
Well, yes and no. Saskatchewan is in this weird time zone where we don't do daylight savings time. So part of the year we're in the same time zone as them, and part of the year we're not.
Oh hi. Really? Huh. Sorry, my granddaughter just gave me a bag of chips. It's weird.
Matt, I greatly appreciate that. You never have to do that, but thank you very much. And yeah, that's some review beers right there. Thank you.
Wow. Good for you. Pass me here. Right here? The 6%er? Yeah. Actually, Nick lives about an hour from me too. I think it's Springfield or something like that. Just between London and Woodstock.
Oh, I try not to go there. You wait.
Yeah.
London Woodstock. He does not live in Elmer, does he?
No, Springfield. He's my favorite subscriber. He is, I gotta meet him. I gotta hang out with him. If you guys aren't subscribed to him. He's great.
I don't know. I gotta be careful. He could know my ex-wife.
He's only 23.
Still right in the area to know my ex-wife.
Right in the area. I message him. We talk every day, so.
Springfield's only like 5 minutes away from Elmer. Well, not.
Yeah, you're pretty close, right?
Than that, but. Well, I think my dogs have quieted down.
It's funny with the bush ice. I'm thinking of some famous words from Chad's friend Ken. He said, "Bush ice. That's NASCAR beer. That's the shit you drink down at Cayuga Speedway."
I miss Ken. I miss the cantankerous cook. I miss Boychuk. The punter.
Yeah.
I miss the old crew. The people that were on the outskirts of the crew don't miss quite as much because they weren't my actual buddies. But the guys that were my buddies, I really do miss having them around. I do know that there is talk of the Reverend going to Winnipeg this summer, and maybe he'll drive out here because Regina is like 4 hours and 45 minutes from Winnipeg. So, and it's the easiest drive in the world. You could fall asleep and still get here because it's just fucking straight. It's straight with nothing there. And there's no cars on the highway. There's no car. We passed maybe 15 cars, and you could see that in the videos we posted. There wasn't much on the highway. It was just open. And yeah.
You're literally only 4 or 5 hours from Winnipeg.
Yep.
Wow, that's amazing. Because I'm literally 0.2 hour drive or a 2.5 hour plane ride to Winnipeg.
Yep. That was the thing, right? We were originally going to drive from
Chad, when did you start your videos?
Did I start my video?
Gotta be 15 years, man. Come on.
No,
I remember the old
under
one.
15 years, but it's close to 15 years.
I was
because
thinking-
my son turns 14 this year, so about 14 years, maybe 14 and a half.
I remember that big TV that you had the big back to it.
Yep.
Is that pretty much the beginning of YouTube?
YouTube was around for a bit before that. I did do a few videos before that, but beer didn't start until right before Aiden was born. I did a few odd videos here and there. So, I mean, I had my first videos probably around the beginning of YouTube, but this was a few years into YouTube. I think for beer reviewers in Canada, Lee was the only one that was really before me. Lee and CraigTube.
Who?
Craig, he's from
Oh,
Hamilton.
the-
He's
the
he's
other
an
albino.
guy as well. He's an
Okay.
albino guy as well, and he's a big fan of Cooper's homebrew kits. And his entire thing was about homebrew for the most part, which is fine. But he would push Cooper's all the time, and he would get mad at me because he would tell me that he would always talk about how you should brew your own beer and not use like the extract shit that the big guys use. And I'm like, you do realize that Cooper's is just extract kits, right? And he would always get mad at me about it. And I'm like, look, I'm not saying you can't make a good beer with a Cooper's kit. You can make a great beer with a Cooper's kit, especially if you add your own flavors to it and all that. But let's call a spade a spade. A Cooper's kit is an extract kit. That's what it is.
Mhm.
It's you're basically using syrups and shit to make your own beer. You're doing the exact same thing that the big guys are doing.
That's
And
it.
you would
I
always
got
get mad.
Mr. Beer Kit, so it's
The,
safe.
the
Like
Craig
Mr.
do-
Beer Kit, you buy those that.
The
Go ahead.
other
I keep
albino, he's
cutting you
more
guys
of like he's a pretty whacked out cat, kind of like a science fiction kind of guy. He's got a 25-minute video on how to use an airlock.
Yeah, he does. He did. He was the master of making those videos take forever to like win out on the algorithms and everything else. Like he knew how to fucking play the game.
So, how many subscribers does he have?
I don't know what he's at.
He's got a
had
lot.
of-
He's yeah. Now he's the gospel to quite a few people who are doing amateur brewing at home,
Really? Okay.
brewing from
That's
kits.
good, though. That's good. You know?
Yeah, he was on my.
He knows
Beer Geeks
he
United
knows
a
his
few
stuff.
times.
He's a fucking weirdo. That's all.
He does know
Is
his
he-
stuff, and he has great production value. But he worked in television for a very long time.
Okay. So he knows what he's doing.
Yes. And like I said, me and him get along. We've met before, we've talked before. We get along quite well. I like to harass him about his gospel of Cooper's kits and why he gospels Cooper kits. And that's what it basically comes down to is I like to push his buttons because I can get him going. And he knows I can get him going, and it's amazing when you get the guy going because he can get angry. And us albinos, we have no pigment. We start getting very red, very angry, and it's great.
Right. I have a question. What do you think about Drunk Pokeroo? Here we go. Right? I had the same way. I got in a huge argument with him. You probably heard about 5 years ago about no name stuff. That was me and him.
Drunk
It's sad
Pokeroo
because
he came to my beer festival once. He came to one of
Okay.
them, and he came up. He introduced himself to me, and then he was too good to do anything. He's like, "Hi," and then he walked away, and I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah, you think he's
oh,
good.
you
Yeah,
think you're
he's
big,
good.
eh?"
Yeah, right?
I think of him like I think of certain guys in the States where to me a lot of it is shilling. And what I mean is that he will say something is good no matter what just to get free beer. Am I right on that? I don't know. It's just he goes into a brewery and he walks out with free beer all the time. I go into a brewery, I'm always offered free beer. I always deny it and I buy my stuff because I want to support the brewery. Now, if I go into, say, Nickelbrook and John's there, John will give me the low fills and stuff, the stuff they can't sell. Whatever, I'm taking a low fill home, I don't give a shit. But if they're going, hey, take this home, no, John, I want to support you. I want to pay for this. Like that's what it comes down to. Where a lot of guys that do this are looking at it as I can get free stuff, and that's amazing. You want to give me a cup so that when I review your beer, it's in your branded glassware? Sure, whatever. A cup doesn't cost you really much. I mean, the beer costs less, but at the same time, the beer makes you more money when you sell it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But he's an ass. He is. 100%.
I've never really had it out with him. I haven't cared. And it's just like I said, I haven't cared because I've even talked to brewers that are like, yeah, he comes in and he wants the stuff for free for him to go review it. There's a lot of guys that do that. There's a guy that's big in. He's from Toronto and he's big on Instagram and big on Untapped. He doesn't do a video set or anything, but he's big on Untapped and he's big on Instagram. And he always wants his beers for free too. And he's a whale chaser. He only wants like the high end stuff, and if it's not high end stuff, it's shit. And if you question him about the way, like the science of brewing or anything like that, he doesn't know much about it. But when it comes to what's hyped and everything else, oh my god, he wants it. And you know, it's amazing, or it's this. It's one of the guys where his family obviously had a lot of money because all he does is go to bottle shares that are sharing like the highest costing beers and everything. And I'm like, wow, like just why?
Mm-hmm. Well, all right, that's good.
Beers for breakfast. Any other beer reviewers?
What's that?
I said, do you watch any other beer reviewers on YouTube?
Oh yeah. I have a buddy in Niagara Falls, Shane's Craft Beer Review. Brian the Beer Snob, and Dave's TV. I won't get started with those two. They were the ones who got the fake subscribers, so we won't go there. And that's it. But Shane's good. Shane's awesome. I don't know if you heard of him in Niagara Falls. He's good.
No, I've been pretty out of the loop for years.
I think what I've seen. The same guys are doing it. Greg's beer reviews. Hey, let's see what's in the fridge today. Ronald Theriot, he's still getting all cranked up at 6 a.m. He's in pieces by the afternoon, man. Don't get him going on mustard.
He always says, though, Ronald, he always says, I get up, I have to, and then I don't drink for a while. So it's good for him, right? You know, and that's how he is. I've been watching him as long as I've been watching
Bullshit.
Albano. Well, I get it, but that's what he says.
Well, if you start the day off with 240s a hurricane, then yeah, you probably don't need any more for a couple hours.
Right? Right. Now, if you really want good channel, Bucks County Beer Review down in Pennsylvania. Great guy. He doesn't have any.
I've seen that.
You see, Bucks?
That is a good one. Yeah.
That's my buddy Wayne. Wayne and I talk all the time.
Yes.
I text him all the time. What a great guy. We're going to meet up soon. And like I said, Alan from One Flight Down in Winnipeg, amazing. He came down here. We were in here in Brantford just doing it in June. We did some collabs, right? So check out One Flight Down.
Matthew, you're gonna have to make me go out to New Brunswick and slap you. That's what's gonna happen.
Is he in New Brunswick? Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to get me to go to New Brunswick, it's not happening this year, but I'm going to save up a slap just for you. But thank you very much. Thank you.
You got to make it a big one then, right?
Yeah, the big wind up. Actually, he was one of the guys when we were trying to decide where we were going to go and we were looking for jobs and all that. He's like, come out to New Brunswick. I can get you a job. And I'm like, that's a great idea, except New Brunswick's house prices have just skyrocketed because of all the people from Toronto moving out there. Toronto. And I mean, that was the only reason we didn't go out was the East Coast was where we wanted to go originally, like back in 2018 when I sold my house during my divorce. The East Coast was where we were looking originally. And back then with like $30,000, you could buy a 3-bedroom apartment, like an apartment building with three units. And I'm like, fuck, that's amazing. Those same places are now worth like $400,000 or $500,000 because people from Toronto are going out that way. So, I mean, originally that was the plan was let's just go out and buy a house and find a minimum wage job and live okay. And that's not what happened. We decided to stay in the Niagara region for me to see my kids for the few hours a month I would get. And then we were like, why are we doing this? So we went to the north, and with me being gone to work in the Arctic, I was only losing out on like 3 days a year with my kids. So it wasn't like it was that big of a, and that was the sad thing. Being gone completely, I lost out on 3 days a year.
Wow.
So it was, that's just how great the court system is. So we were like, why are we staying here paying what we're paying for things when we can go try and make some money? And then we went up there, and the goal was always 3 years, and then 3 years came, and we had lost all of our savings a few different times for different reasons. And then promises were made by the company, and we lost all of our savings again, and the promises were never fulfilled. And then we went out to Deer Lake, and it was just time to leave. We never ended up getting to where we wanted to be, but it was time to leave. And the only choices we really had if we wanted to leave was like Saskatchewan for the most part, because the house prices were nothing. Like this house cost me less than my 3-bedroom house in Niagara Falls cost me 17 years ago. Like it's insane. And this thing is 3 times the size of what I had in Niagara Falls.
Have beers for breakfast. Have you seen the price of houses in Saskatchewan, like where Chad is?
No. Nope.
Like an expensive house out his way is $180,000.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
let's
crazy.
be honest, right? In Regina, your house prices can range from $30,000 to $1 million, depending where in Regina you are.
So 2 years ago, I sold a house in Cambridge on Christopher. $679,000. I bought it 14 years ago at $219. But that was through COVID. Now I bet you it lost its value because of everything. But COVID screwed up a lot of things, man. I'm telling you, COVID. It screwed up things big time.
Lemon ginger radler.
Well, I'm
I live in
drinking on
a
Mayday.
bachelor apartment.
Mayday.
No,
I know.
I actually have a guy that worked for me in Deer Lake that wants to move to Saskatchewan, and I keep sending him houses. And I just sent him a 3-bedroom house in Washington Park, and Washington Park is considered the bad part of town. But gentrification is happening right now, right? There's a lot of people buying the houses there, and they're basically shooing the homeless and the drug addicts,
guys like
and everything
you.
else outward. Yeah. I'm not in the bad part of town. That's General Hospital in Washington Park. But I'm close to General Hospital in Washington Park. Don't get me wrong. I'm only a couple blocks away, but I'm not in what's considered the undesirable part of town. But in the undesirable part of town, you can get a house like what I bought for $155 for $75. Like it's amazing.
$75,000.
Yeah.
Really? Jesus. How much is rent there? Just hypothetically.
I
For a
haven't
2-bedroom
looked into rent because I don't need to rent.
You don't have to, but
I
rent my
believe this
place.
house was being rented before it was sold, because what happened was the parents died and the kids sold it, but it was a rental before it was sold. And if I remember correctly, this was rented at $900 a month, which is a 1-bedroom illegal apartment, like nothing meets egress.
Okay.
And upstairs was technically a 3-bedroom because you have the loft and then 2 bedrooms on the main floor, and they were renting that for $14.
That's why you have 2 kitchens, like recently. Okay, but still, $900, right? Can't go wrong with that.
No, and then like the 3-bedroom portion was, like I said, like 14. So they were renting this house for $2,300 a month combined, and their mortgage on it couldn't have been more than like $600.
Wow. That's crazy. I lived in this place here.
Is this
in
it?
Brantford. Okay, I lived in this place in Brantford for 6 years. $11.75 rent, and it hasn't went up. And I'm loving it. I could do whatever. I have the main floor, basement, driveway, backyard. I got 6 grills. I have 6 barbecues. Yes, I do. And I enjoy everything I do about it, and I enjoy life.
Well, I mean, my mortgage is $910 a month, and then
Yeah.
I owe property tax on top of that, house insurance. House insurance is a little higher than it would have to be because it has to go through the Saskatchewan government. My property tax a little higher than I would personally like, but it's not horrendous. In the end, not most things aren't bad. They're not great. They're not bad. And the cost of living, like gas, is cheaper here than in Ontario, mostly because Saskatchewan has fought back against the carbon tax. Food, yeah, food can be expensive, but there's so many farmers markets and everything because we're in the heart of farmers country, right? Like,
Right?
Chad, I gotta ask
you
you,
know,
are we traveling to Planet Minhas with that beverage there?
no, this is not Minhas. This is District Brewing. It is their,
Okay.
it's District Brewing's Lemon Ginger Radler.
Have you had it before?
No, I actually have one on the counter for review, and it's really good. The Minhas boxes are behind my saw there, behind me. And yeah, I still have the Hawaiian colored espresso stout box.
Another thing, is that the plug you were talking about with the wire outside, beside your fridge, right there?
No, there's a bunch of these in the house. I don't know why they did it down here because this is drywall, but they do it upstairs too. But upstairs is because there's a lot of plaster and lath still, so it's really hard to run things inside the wall, right? So when you wanted to rewire the house, instead of having to rip everything apart and re-drywall it all, they would disconnect all the knob and tubing so that none of it was live anymore, and then run wire on the outside of the walls. But again, I don't know why they did it here because this is drywall. It's not plaster and lath, so I don't know why they did it.
One more question. How cold is it in Regina right now?
I think it's -6 right now.
Oh, so you're around us. We're
Yeah.
pretty cold right here.
It's normally fairly cold, but right now it's not horrendous.
Yeah, it was cold today, actually, this morning. I actually walked to Metro in Brantford. I don't know. Chris, you know where Metro is in Brantford?
Takes Chris about 30 seconds.
I know how cold it was today, I'll tell you that.
Okay, but you don't know where Metro is in Brantford? Oh, man, I still got to know your internet provider.
Are you with Bell, Chris? Is Bell your internet provider?
I have Bell, and I have Bell 5, actually, and I've never had an issue. I love it. He's afraid to say it. He's afraid to say it.
No, like I said to Chad earlier, this place was built when the Flintstones were still around.
What does that have to do with the internet, though? Internet was only 20 years old, really, if you think about it.
I mean,
Cement, rock, all that type of stone.
Okay, all right, okay. I understand.
I'm encased in stone. That's what I'm saying. I don't usually have this much trouble.
Whereabouts are you in golf?
Maine and Ainsley.
Okay, all right, right there. That's perfect. You're over Maine and Ainsley. You're over by Farm League anyways.
You are not on dial-up, Brian. Shut up.
You're not far from Farm League. Right?
No.
No. I used to be in, you know where Elliott Street is?
That's right.
I used to live on Elliott and walk down the Grand River all the time. Yeah, I used to be there, right there. 3 minute walk from
Very nice.
Grand River Brewery, Elliott Street. I know it all, man.
You know, one of the people that used to be a brewmaster at fuck. I can't even think anymore.
Grand River.
Yes. Yeah, there you go.
Yes,
The
guy with the black hair?
He was brewing. He became the brewmaster at Sean and Ed in Hamilton. And when we
Okay.
were recording at Sean and Ed, I was talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I was the brewmaster at Grand River." And I'm like, "Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Grand River beers. They all had diacetyl in them and everything. It was so buttery." And he's like, "Yeah, that was on purpose." I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean that was on purpose?" He goes, "Yeah, the owner wanted us to put that in there so that the beers had their own vibe, their own life, their own feeling." And I'm like, "So you put a fault in your beer to make it have its own feeling?" He's like, "Hey man, I just got paid to do it." Okay.
Yeah, I met him a couple times. But maybe I got used to the Grand River beer that when Magnata took over because they bought him out in Vaughan. Maybe now this is what it's supposed to taste like, and now I'm like, what the hell? That's not what it was before, because they're not doing that.
What do you mean?
That diacetyl's okay in like a Scottish ale or a doppelbock when you get that butterscotch toffee type notes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're having a clean beer like your Laker lager, you don't want butterscotch in your Laker lager.
No, you're right.
I'll be right back. I got to take a pee. I just got yelled at by my daughter too.
Same thing. I'll be back. So, Chris, you're on your own for 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's what
Pounded by Gerard, who puts it to the line. And that shot gets down to Parise, who kicks the leg. One shot. That was deep right. But one call there. And Holmberg has to get the side of the net. Put back into the corner off the glove of him. He had to play it first. Then to Holmberg, back to him. Into the line. It's Lagerson with a shot. That glances up. Parise. Second walk of the gym. With the huge ball by Cincinnati. Kept the pressure on. Now you get a change with the Matthews line. Follow that one up. So maybe in the third period, maybe 4 or 5 minutes or something like that. And that's something that's been happening a lot more regularly than it was early in the season. It's great in Vegas.
I guess I wasn't muted, which means you heard me pee. I'm an idiot. Yeah, but we're back. Everybody's on a pee break. That's okay. Even Chris and his I drink Tang. Brian's gonna go pee also. That's great. Everybody's peeing. Everybody's peeing. We all took a pee break. We are doing okay. We are doing okay. We are going to drink next Paddock Woods Dark Woods Porter. Paddock Woods Dark Woods Porter. I have not had a Paddock Woods beer in a very long time. Last Paddock Woods beers. What the hell's going on here? I know you're going to go pee also. Who told me to next? Oh, it was you.
Awesome.
Dark Woods Porter is from Paddock Wood Brewing, and it is 4.8% alcohol by volume. I have not reviewed this yet either. It's over there on the shelf. So these two beers, this one and the last one I did, I will not be going into them completely blind because I have now had them before. I will be honest when I review and say, look, I've had this before. but I've turned off my light, so I'm not as pretty now. And also, I've only had 2 beers in this brewery, and this is a weird brewery to me. And I was kind of waiting for Chris to get back to talk about it, but this is a brewery that was always weird to me because what they did, I've had 2 beers from them before. I've had the Checkmate Pilsner and the 606 India Pale Ale. Paddockwood is a brewery where what happened was they would make their beers, they would sell out of their beers, and they would close. They'd be like, "There's too many people that want our beers. We have to close." And I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean you have to close? That's what you want as a brewery.
Almost like
You
third
want to sell your
name here.
shit." And so what would happen was they would get bigger and they would sell their beers and it would sell out and they'd have to close. And I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid. But apparently they're making other beers now. So hopefully this is better than the first 2 I had. However, I don't know if the first 2 I had were bad because they were beer store purchases or if they were bad because they just weren't made well. But we'll find out.
Beer store purchase. What do you mean by that?
The beer store and the LCBO do about the same thing. They have like planned obsolescence. And they get a beer that should be put out fresh and they're like, we're going to sit on this for about 6 months before we put it on the shelf.
Oh.
Put it out and it's
Okay. All right. So I feel like Third Moon up here in Milton does the same thing. They basically just, when they're done, you know. That's how. Chris, have you had anything from Willibald? I know Albino has, but have you?
Well, you'd have to join me to do that, filthy smelly.
He's thinking. Chris is thinking. No, nothing from Willibald. Out of air. Willibald's good, but
No, I haven't had anything from.
like
What'd you call it? No.
Willibald Brewery. No, I feel like they went downhill. Now, there's a whole bunch of craft breweries down in Niagara Falls that are amazing, except Niagara Brewery really sucks, right?
You better watch what you're saying, sir. He will have the mob give a hit out on you.
Well, there's only four beers. No one likes it. What do you want me to say about it?
He owns like half of Fallsview Boulevard. He owns half of Clifton Hill. That man is so connected with people that you don't want to be connected with.
Okay.
And that is all he is
off.
about.
Okay. The Amber Ale's good. The Lager's good. But, you know,
you hear that, Chris?
Why don't they make more?
He knows he's connected to the mob. He's like, oh, yeah, it's good.
No, but why don't they make any more? I get the 4-pack and that's it. The 4-pack can sit for like how long? Start making some good beers, you know? Start getting them going.
Does Niagara Brewery still make their Ice Bock?
I don't know if they still make the Ice Bock.
Huh.
Does Niagara Brewery still make their Ice Bock?
I don't know. It's been too. The other thing with them is like the Niagara
Used to come in a big champagne bottle.
It did, yes. The Niagara Brewing Company is in the building that used to be the WWE Hall of Fame and the Harley Davidson store. That's what was there before he closed those down and put that there, and he put that there to grab onto the craft beer craze. Last time I worked for Fallsview Casino, they had the Amber on tap, and they didn't want. I'm not actually allowed in that brewery, but they were doing a tasting for Fallsview Casino and for Casino Niagara, and I was invited to go to the tasting, and they couldn't stop me from going in, which really pissed him off. And he actually owns the building that Casino Niagara is in as well. Like, he owns everything. And you'll notice I'm not saying his name because I don't want to wake up with a fucking horse head or something in my bed. But I went in, and their brewmaster, who was not a very good brewmaster, was like quizzing people, everything. And he was getting so angry at me because I answered every one of his questions without raising my hand or anything. He's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm somebody that knows more about beer than you." And he didn't like that either. And it was a good time. It was a really good time. But if you go into the brewery, when you go in, they have their fermenters and their actual used fermenters and stuff, and they're all in a place where a customer can touch them, and they have like steam pipes going in places where customers can touch them. And I'm like, how the fuck did this pass health and safety? How did it pass health and safety? What the fuck payment did you have to do to pay? Because somebody did get hurt there, and what they did was they walked up and they turned the door on the fermenter, and they got smoked in the face by beer. Like,
Right?
it's not a safe place. And the fact that health and safety passed it boggles my mind. But owns everything. So whatever he wants to do is what happens.
Well, I get it, but I won't say it, but Hammer's okay. Like I said, the lager, they gotta start making others. They gotta make other beers. I know it's
They're never going to do that because they don't care. That it's a front. It's a way for him to launder money. That's all it is.
That's all it is. That is. But if they'll get bigger if they start doing stuff, right? You know.
Majestic
Again,
stuff.
you're right on Clifton Hill. You're right on Clifton Hill. Come on, start doing things. Do a good IPA. You know, something good. And that's the thing. Like, I'm supposed to go down to Niagara Falls in July, and nothing against this, and I hope I don't have questions, but we're actually bypassing that brewery because everyone's been there, and everyone's like, you know. I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to win a lawsuit with Dino. Dino has more money than you do.
Oh, did you say a name?
No. He has an entire legal team, man. He owns most of Niagara Falls. You ain't winning
That's
anything
crazy.
with him. He owns the mayor. He owns everything. It is what it is. My current wife has worked for him too at the Harley Davidson store, and she hated his guts as well. Like everybody that's ever worked for the guy has not been happy with him.
Wow.
Exactly, Brian. Exactly.
Cheers to that.
I hope you're going to Counterpart when you're in Niagara Falls. Counterpart is amazing.
I've been there. Counterpart is amazing.
Blackburn has an amazing building. Brian brought me to Blackburn last time I was in Niagara Falls. Blackburn is worth a visit. Beautiful building. Brimstone, where I used to do my festival, it's out in Ridgeway, but I mean, Brimstone is worth the visit. Cayman Kettle in Font Hill, worth the visit.
Yeah.
Other than that, what else is there out there? There's a lot of breweries in the Niagara region. It's just whether or not I'm very well versed in them at this moment.
I heard we're going to do one day in St. Catharines.
Does Brimstone do any barrel aging?
No, not from the last time I was there. I don't know if Zach has started doing barrel aging. A day in St. Catharines, the Merchant Ale House, now that they have a new brewmaster and all that, they do really good. I don't know what else is in. Cold Break is in St. Catharines. It's okay. Decoux Falls is in St. Catharines. It's okay.
Yeah, that's a new one, right?
Yeah, neither of them are bad. A lot of the best breweries in the Niagara region are outside of Niagara Falls and St. Catharines. You also there's a brewery in Welland now. It's pretty damn good. There's a brewery in Port Colborne. It's pretty damn good. The Cameron and his family own that one. Breakwall.
I believe I've been to the one. Breakwall, right? Breakwall?
The one in The one in Welland is really new. It is in the Black Sheep Lounge building, and
Okay.
it is the Costa. No, not Costa. What the fuck is Spinoza? The Spinoza family owns that, and he was a counselor in Welland at one point too. Pretty damn good beer. Like I said, a lot of the best beer in Niagara isn't brewed in Niagara Falls. It's brewed outside of Niagara Falls, but Counterpart is really good for sours, really good for like fruit smoothie beers, and really good for IPAs. So if you like that stuff, Counterpart is a must stop at, and their line is always changing. Again, Breakwall does solid beers. None of their beers are extremely adventurous, but all of them are almost perfect to style. So they're a good stop as well.
Breakwall is good. I've been there. I enjoyed Breakwall. They have a really good, I think it's a stout or a porter. There's a new one in St. Catharines.
And you've never sent me anything from there. That you really know how to hurt me, sir.
What is it? What's the new one in St. Catharines?
What's in St. Catharines? He only gives half information, you see. He's like, ha 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 ha, you're going to have to talk.
He's around that area.
Me and Brian have known each other for over a decade.
Brian, are you subscribed? Beer for breakfast, stacks for snacks.
Me and Brian have known each other for probably 18 years now. Close to 2 decades, because he was the guy that trained me at the casino. Not hold on. You should know the answer already.
That's right.
Where was
Hold on.
Moosehead made before it was bought out?
What do you mean? Hold on. Moosehead is not bought out. They're still independently owned.
No, he's talking about the fact that Moosehead had a brewery in the Niagara region.
Oh, okay.
That's
I
what
was,
I'm
like,
thinking of.
confused.
I'm trying to remember where they were originally.
I can't remember. It's because we haven't talked about it in so long. But they had a brewery in the Niagara region.
Yeah. What was it called again? Because it was that with that little. Oh man, what is it called? There's a good beer too. Man, and I can't find it anymore.
Now, on your way
It's a long time
into
ago now.
Niagara as well, I don't know if you're going to stop at it because it's so far outside of Niagara. But on your way into Niagara, you'll pass Bench Brewing, which is a good stop as well.
Yeah, Bench is good. Man, what is that brewery called? They had that little chipmunk with that freaking nut on it.
Yes, they made Barking Squirrel there and stuff.
Barking Squirrel. That's it. So, what is that brewery?
I mean, Moosehead still owns Barking Squirrel and still makes Barking Squirrel, but it was made in the Niagara Brewing Company.
Yes.
But it wasn't Dino's Niagara Brewing Company. It was another Niagara Brewing Company that's been defunct for a while.
Right.
I don't know if he has connections in Saskatchewan, but I'm just being careful here, you know.
Oh man, it's great.
Was Barking
My wife is going to send my daughter down soon to yell at me again for not being up there. I have like 7 more minutes.
Yeah, that's cool because I gotta go to bed soon too.
All right. What other bullshit can we talk about for 7 minutes?
Let's talk about Newfoundland.
Bring back Steelback Brewery. The world needs more Blue Thunder.
Turncoat is in.
Not even sure if it's open.
Huh.
Well, then you didn't help us, sir.
took a
You did
look.
not help us. You know what? I'm glad it's closed, though. Plan B. Because Plan B was such a horrible name for a brewery. It was on St. Paul Street, which was a great place for a brewery. A problem was he had one of the worst setups for brewing, and he had no temperature control. His beer had so many faults in it. And basically, he used his brewery to find a new wife. He was married to his girl, and he just started hitting on girls until he found a new wife, and then he closed his doors and left. And he never understood why people didn't like the idea of Plan B as a name of a brewery. And he's like, well, it's Plan B because we had Plan A and Plan A fell through, so this was Plan B. I go, yeah, that's the name of a fucking abortion drug, motherfucker. Like,
Wow.
that's why they don't like your name. Like, but I must say the best part about
Well, I got a question. Out of all three of us,
go ahead.
out of all three of us, what is the beer that you miss the most that is now retired?
Macro, craft, wait, anything?
Anything, yep.
Anything? I'm going to say, it's still out there. God. Oh, this is tough because, you know what? Bohemian.
I'll give you mine if it makes it any easier.
What's yours?
Bohemian.
Bohemian's here in Saskatchewan.
I'd have to
What?
check.
You
I'm
think
not sure.
Bohemian?
I'm not sure if Bohemian is.
Promotion?
Yeah, I
Right?
thought
No,
it's
it's-
still in circulation. Yeah.
No, I can't get bottles of it. I love Bohemian.
I don't know who's the cute one. Which one of the three of us is the cute one? No, obviously not me. Though I am thinking about starting my Naughty Santa OnlyFans.
I don't know who's the cute one.
Fuck.
Bohemian.
You just got that mental image, didn't you, Chris?
For
me,
mine,
it would be. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I'm gonna go with a Caution Porter.
They don't make that anymore. Well, they probably just don't bring it here, right? If we're talking
It's
about
fin-
things that I can't.
No,
find
it's
anymore,
it's done. It's not in circulation anymore. It's finished.
really. If I'm talking about things I can't find anymore,
They don't even make it
I'm
in Poland.
talking Orval. Orval is something I can't find anymore that I loved. If it's something that I know for sure is discontinued, it's Rickard's Cardigan.
Oh, you know what? Where's Rickard's White? Rickard's White. Where
Nope.
is it?
You can get Rickard's White all the time. It's Belgian Moon.
Yeah, come on, man. I want Rickard's White. I get it, but
Belgian Moon. It's the exact same beer.
that's what everyone says. But
It's
now
not
I want
it. The recipe is the exact same. It's they can charge more by putting the Belgian Moon name on it. So they put the Belgian Moon name on it and charge you
So
more.
why did they do that though? Why would you have Rickard's Red and then go let's get rid of Rickard's White and go Belgian Moon?
Well, Belgian Moon
Like-
exists. Blue Moon was a big beer in the U.S., while Rickard's White was the beer here. And then
Right.
they just decided because Blue Moon was such a big name, they would bring it to Canada. However, Amsterdam Brewing Company bought the copyrights for a lot of names of big brand beers, so that they couldn't come into Canada. And they had bought the trademark for Blue Moon, so they had to call it Belgian Moon here. But once they brought Belgian Moon here, in Canada, there's a law that you can't have the exact same product with two different names. So they had to kill one of them off, and Belgian Moon made them more money because of the idea of what it was than Rickard's White did.
Really?
Yep.
That's crazy. That's nuts. I love it. I love it. Is that the reason why I still buy it? It's not gross.
This trailer park. No, the trailer park boys make a lot more money than I ever will.
Yeah, no kidding.
How much time do I have left before I have to go up? Oh, I have a minute, so I better go before my wife cuts my balls
I don't
off.
blame you. Hey,
I love you
Awesome.
all. Thank you for joining
This
us.
is-
We'll try and do this again next weekend. Closing
yeah,
comments,
let's
guys?
do it. Let's do it every Saturday. I love this. Thank you. It's great. Have a great one, guys. Subscribe. That's all I gotta say.
Chris, the floor is
Cheers,
yours.
everyone. Cheers.
All hail Minhas. Bow to your supreme
Yeah.
leader.
I hate you. I hate you. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Good night.